It's 2 a.m., your house is completely silent, except for one thing. Your dog, who used to sleep curled up beside you every night, isn't there anymore. Instead, you find them lying alone on the cold tile floor in the hallway. Not asleep, just still. And something in your chest tightens, because deep down, you feel it. Something is changing. But here's what most people tell themselves in moments like this. They're just getting older. They're tired today. It's probably nothing. We push the thought away. We don't want to see it. But what if those small changes you've been noticing aren't random at all? What if they're messages? And what if your dog has already started saying goodbye? Here's the truth that most owners never realize until it's too late. Dogs don't suddenly leave. They slowly prepare you. In ways so quiet, so subtle that you almost miss them. But once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. And today, you're going to learn the 10 signs that veterinarians, animal behaviorists, and hospice caregivers quietly recognize in dogs who are nearing the end. Some of these will feel gentle, some of them will hit you harder than you expect. But every single one matters. Because your dog, the one who gave you everything, is now asking for one final thing: to be seen. So before we go further, if you've ever loved a dog like family, comment yes below, because what you're about to hear is for you. The first sign is something most people completely misunderstand. Your dog starts disappearing. Not physically, but socially. A dog who once followed you from room to room stops. A dog who used to greet you at the door doesn't get up anymore. Instead, they begin choosing places you've never seen them rest before. Under the bed, in the corner of a closet, on the coldest tile in the house. At first, it feels like rejection, like they don't want to be around you anymore. But here's the part most people miss. This isn't them moving away from you, it's them moving inward. Veterinary hospice specialists describe this as an early withdrawal phase. As the body begins conserving energy, everything becomes more intense. Light feels brighter, sound feels louder, even touch can feel overwhelming. So they seek stillness, quiet, peace. Not because they love you less, but because their body is asking for something it's never needed before. Rest on a deeper level. Here's what matters. Don't pull them out of those spaces. Go to them. Sit nearby. Say nothing. Because sometimes the greatest form of love isn't interaction. It's presence. Now here's where things get more real. The second sign shows up in something your dog has always been honest about. Food. A dog who has loved eating their entire life suddenly hesitates. They sniff their bowl, pause, then walk away. At first, it feels confusing. Then it starts to feel scary. Because appetite is one of the clearest windows into a dog's health, and when it changes, something inside them is shifting. Studies on aging dogs suggest that appetite loss often appears weeks or even months before major physical decline. Because as the body begins to slow down, it redirects energy away from digestion toward survival. But here's the part that changes everything. Sometimes they'll still eat, just not the way they used to. They might ignore their regular food, but gently accept a piece of chicken from your hand, or take a bite of something soft, warm, familiar. This is what many vets call a grace period, and if you're in it, don't fight it. This isn't the time for perfect nutrition. This is the time for meaning. Hand feed them if they want. Sit with them while they eat. Make every bite feel like connection, because it is. Now let's talk about the one sign that breaks people the most. Their eyes change. It doesn't happen all at once, and it's hard to explain, but you feel it before you understand it. That bright, alert look they used to give you softens. There's still love there, but something about it feels quieter, more distant. Some of this is physical. Conditions like lenticular sclerosis can cause a bluish haze. Cataracts can blur their vision. But what many behavior researchers have observed goes deeper than that. Dogs nearing the end often shift into what's called an introspective gaze. They don't just look at things, they look through them, as if their attention is no longer fully anchored in the present world. And here's the part that matters most. It's not sadness, it's not fear, it's something closer to surrender. So when they look at you like that, don't look away. Hold their gaze. Because even now, that connection still releases oxytocin, the same bonding hormone that's been tying you together your entire life. Their eyes may be changing, but their love isn't. Now, here's where things get confusing, because the next sign feels like a contradiction. Your dog becomes more attached to youth than ever before. They follow you everywhere, rest their head on your foot, whine when you leave the room. It's intense, almost like they're trying to stay as close as physically possible, and in a way they are. Some part of them senses that time is changing, so they begin gathering moments, stockpiling closeness. But then, without warning, they do the opposite. They withdraw. They go quiet. They choose to be alone. And it hurts, because it feels like you've lost them before they're gone. But here's the truth rooted deep in canine instinct. In the wild, when dogs sense the end, they separate from the pack. Not out of rejection, but protection. It's an ancient behavior, one your dog still carries inside them. So when this pattern appears, clingy, then distant, don't take it personally. It's not confusion, it's communication. And if you're still here with me, comment, "Still here," because what comes next is the part most people aren't prepared for. Their body begins to change. Not dramatically, not all at once, but enough that you start noticing small things. They struggle to stand. Their legs tremble slightly. They hesitate before climbing stairs they used to run up. Maybe they stop jumping onto the couch, or the bed, or they lie down more slowly, as if they're careful not to fall. Veterinarians call this loss of proprioception. The body's awareness of itself in space begins to fade. Muscle mass declines, especially in the back legs, and suddenly, strength isn't something they can rely on anymore. Here's what matters most in this stage. Don't try to fix it. Support it. Lift them gently. Add rugs so they don't slip. Carry them if needed. Because this is the moment where roles quietly reverse. They spent their whole life protecting you. Now, you protect them. The next sign is subtle, but incredibly important. Their breathing changes. At rest, a healthy dog typically breathes between 10 and 30 times per minute. But as the body begins to shift, that rhythm changes. They may breathe faster or deeper, or pause between breaths longer than usual. Animal hospice care research shows that breathing patterns are one of the most reliable indicators of comfort. Not time, comfort. If their breathing is calm and steady, they're likely at peace. If it becomes labored, irregular, or strained, that's your signal. Not to panic, but to act. Because at this stage, comfort becomes the priority. Then comes something quiet, but deeply telling. They lose interest. The tennis ball sits untouched. The leash doesn't excite them anymore. Even your voice gets a softer response. Behaviorists call this anhedonia, a reduced ability to feel pleasure from things that once mattered. But here's the truth most people misunderstand. Your dog isn't becoming sad. They're becoming selective. Their energy is limited now, so their body chooses carefully where to spend it. And instead of chasing joy, they settle into peace. So don't try to bring back the old version of happiness. Create a new one. Slower, softer, more present. And then something happens that almost every owner remembers forever. Unexpected moments of affection, different from anything before. Your dog looks at you longer, leans into you more deeply, gently places their head on your chest and stays there, longer than usual. These moments aren't random. Animal hospice caregivers have documented them across thousands of cases. Dogs become more intentional with connection as their time narrows. Some believe it's brain chemistry. Others believe it's awareness. But either way, it's real. And if it happens to you, don't brush it off. Don't get distracted. Just be there. Because these moments will stay with you long after they're gone. Now we reach one of the hardest signs to witness: restlessness. Your dog can't get comfortable. They lie down, stand up, turn in circles, pant softly, move from room to room, as if they're searching for something they can't find. Veterinarians recognize this as end-stage discomfort, and this is often the moment where love becomes a decision. Because when a dog can no longer find peace, they're asking for help. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do is the hardest. And finally, the last sign, the one no one forgets. There's a look. If you've seen it, you know. It's not fear, it's not pain, it's something else. Your dog looks at you with a depth that feels almost human, and in that moment, You understand something without words. Some call it a thank you, some call it permission, some call it goodbye. Research into human-animal bonds describes something similar to terminal lucidity, a moment of clarity, of connection, right before the end. So if it happens, don't turn away. Look back, speak to them, tell them they were a good dog, tell them you love them, because your voice is the last thing they will carry. And here's what no one tells you. Losing a dog doesn't just leave silence. It leaves echoes, in your routine, in your home, in the smallest moments. But it also leaves something else, a permanent change in how you love. Because a dog teaches you something no one else can. How to love without conditions, without hesitation, without holding back. And even though goodbye feels unbearable, almost every person who's loved a dog would choose it again, every time. So if your dog is showing these signs, you're not losing them, you're walking them home. And that is the greatest act of love there is. If this touched you, comment the name of your dog below, and stay, because the next video might help you understand them even more.